Okay, the Improvement Service Committee meeting of March, what are we, 4th, will come to order, and we'll note that Alder Burnett, Alder Gerlach, Alder Scannell, Alder Weary are present and have an approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alder Scannell, second by Alder Burnett. Any changes to that? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Alder Scannell, second by Alder Burnett. Any changes? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Under regular business, everything we do tonight will be recommendation on the City Council next Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Number 1, consideration with possible action on a constituent idea about improving fall loose leaf collection. Alder Burnett?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Chairman Weary. As you recall, last fall, the city sent a couple letters to residents regarding fall loose leaf collection, not putting into the street, but keeping on the terrace in my district, which isn't, entirely unique. But I have a lot of woods in my district, and one specific neighborhood association is in a heavily wooded area. So they received a lot of the letters, and the neighborhood association out there fielded a lot of calls and try to intervene and help and educate people. Well, one of the residents in that neighborhood had a good idea that he had trying to figure out a solution to the loose leaf collection in the fall. So he proposed an amendment to section 9.04 solid waste disposal. I did talk to him today. I kind of worked out some ideas, and I mentioned to him that Director Grenier would be out for a while. There seems to be no immediate urgency. The fall is quite a ways away. So on this issue, I would just recommend a refer to staff to work with Alderman Burnett to see if this is a good idea.
I'll second that.
All right, that's your motion, Alder Burnett?
Yep.
Just a question, please.
Sure, there's a motion and a second to refer this to staff under discussion. Alder Gerlach?
Alder Brunette, come on, I can't stand it. Just any clue.
The suspense.
And also, I want to know, what is the problem that has to be solved? Because I do hear people complain about leaf pickup, and I don't ever recognize the problem.
Yeah, so in my district, there are few sidewalks. So there isn't really a terrace between the sidewalk and the street where normally people would put yard waste. So what they do over time is they historically put it into the street, not purposely necessarily, but they didn't want to ruin their lawns. And so over time with the city, with the removal of yard waste and leaves, we'd put that equipment on the grass and sweep it down, and it caused some damage. And so for folks who really take pride in their lawn, not that everyone doesn't, but a lot of my constituents do, they prefer to put it into the street. And so he worked out an idea for a proposed amendment to allow only during fall and spring yard waste collection, and only when placed 3 feet from any street gutter or storm sewer. So Director Grenier has spent a lot of time on this as Assistant Director Burnett, but I just don't want to put too much time into this if it's not something they haven't already considered. So.
Okay, now I'll be able to sleep tonight. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm personally glad you didn't say it involved waste to energy.
So.
You don't want to have that discussion again? Okay.
Burnt on that one.
Well, there's a motion and a second to refer this item to staff. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 2, consideration with possible action on request by the Department of Public Works to enter into professional services contract with McMahon Associates, Inc. Continue vegetative maintenance associated with a select grouping of city-owned stormwater facilities. Assistant Director.
Okay, as you know, the city has quite a few of the stormwater facilities throughout town. What we do with these is we try to group them into 2 separate groups, because as you notice, the next item on the agenda is almost identical to this one, except for it's a different consultant. So what we do is these folks at McMahon will be doing the Baird Creek Preserve Northwest Pond, the Baird Creek Preserve Northeast Pond, Larshide Pond, Mill Street Pond, Baston Street Wetlands Facility, and Excalibur Pond. And what they do is they go in and they work on the, maintaining the vegetation at these ponds each year. Some years they go through and they'll burn it, other years they'll go through and get rid of invasives. And it's, basically the ponds are a continuous maintenance item. And so this contract for this year would be for $16,950. And our recommendation would be to allow us to award this contract. This has been an annual thing. These guys have done this for the last, well, since I've been here, and that's 6 years already, so.
All right, thank you, Director. Questions from the committee?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alder Scannell, second by Alder Gerlach to approve. Discussion, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that carries. Number 3, consideration with possible action on request by Department of Public Works to enter into a professional services contract with NES Ecological Services, a division of Robert E. Lee and Associates, to continue vegetative maintenance associated with a select grouping of city-owned stormwater facilities. Assistant Director.
Okay, this one, NES has Royal Woods Pond, Barina Creek Pond, Burger Street Pond, Huron and Sitka Pond, Krista McCullough Park Pond, Uza Shorewood Heights Pond, Eaton Heights Pond, and Voyager Drive Swale. All these, there's a couple of them in this grouping that require a little more maintenance this year, so this contract would be in the amount of $44,250. And one thing I did want to say is, before Alder Gerlach asks it, yes, this money is budgeted, so.
Thank you.
Nice. That was a little bit more on this one. Was the swale extra? That is the swale. It just sounded cool. What's the difference between a swale and a pond?
Oh, big difference. I have swales.
Typically, the swale is going to be like a roadside ditch, for lack of a better term, and versus the ponds typically are wet ponds, the ponds that we have, the ones that they're doing maintenance on vegetation.
I don't have any of those.
I don't have a ditch, no.
Any questions from the committee? Entertain a motion.
Motion
To approve. Second.
Motion by, was it Alder Scannell? Second by Alder Burnett. Any discussion on that? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Number 4, consideration of possible action on review and approval of the 2020 Annual Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources Stormwater Report. And I know Director Grenier would usually like to read the whole thing to us, but you do not have to. Unless the committee wants you to.
I read it.
Okay, me too.
I'll hit the highlights, and the big highlight, the one that everybody asks about typically, is there were 145 muskrats trapped this year.
Yeah. Oh.
That, and we filled 3 new positions in the stormwater utility, and the sanitary utility. We're looking at, we had the fog person come in, so they're gonna be chasing the fats, oils, and grease out of the sanitary sewer. We had a sewer maintenance worker and another utility engineer hired, so, I mean, we're making strides that way. And it's just, the program is continually grows as more and more people get into, doing this type of work. There were almost a little over 250 projects done that required stormwater. So, a lot of this stuff is going on every day. For street sweeping and fall leaf collection, we picked up about 4,100 tons. And that was included 20 rounds of sweeping. So, yeah, that's basically what we're doing with this. What we would like tonight would be authorization for the director to be able to sign this and submit it to the DNR.
So moved. What happened to the muskrats?
They belong to the trapper.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Do you
Want
want
a hat?
them?
My grandma used to eat them.
I second the motion.
All right. We have a motion by Alder Scannell, second by Alder Gerlach to approve and forward to the DNR. Any discussion on that? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. We'll have to have a separate hat report. Muskrat report. All right. Number 5, consideration with possible action on the review and award of the following contracts. We have A, Pavement Repair 2021, B is sewers 121, including water main. C, sidewalks 2021.
Yeah, so what I would anticipate is we'd have three separate motions here. The pavement repair contract 2021, basically what that contractor does is he goes around town and he will repair asphalt, and this part of it is mainly the concrete portion of the pavement, so it'll be curb and gutter, concrete pavement, things like that, where utility companies have done crossings of the roadways, repairs to their facilities, installation of new facilities and things like that. If you remember, this is the contract that last year we changed it, and it was the first year where the city did the billing back to the various utility companies that did these installations in the streets, and we needed to do these permanent pavement repairs for. So this one's not a contract where you normally get 6-7 contractors bidding on it. This year we had one contractor, which is Fisher Ullman Construction, in the amount of $951,965.50. It was in the estimate, and it was actually below our estimate. We're very comfortable with this contractor. He's the one that, I think since I've been assistant director, I don't think anybody else has gotten this contract yet. So that one we would recommend award for.
All right. Questions on A, pavement repair?
Is it in the budget?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Did you move to approve?
Motion to approve 5A.
Second.
Motion by Alder Scannell, second by Alder Gerlach to approve 5A pavement repair 2021. Those discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. And the next one here.
Next one is sewers 121, including water main. This one, we were very pleased with the results. We had 7 contractors bid on it. It just so happens that a contractor was low bidder on all 3 parts. This is a 3-part contract. Basically what this contract is for is we go in and we'll do the utility repairs for all the streets that will be getting resurfaced this year. So the vast majority of utilities that gets replaced during this contract normally is water main, but then we also do have a fair share of sanitary repairs and storm sewer repairs as well. The contractor that was low bidder on all 3 parts was PTS Contractors, Inc. And what we had was the $694,000 for Part A. Part B was $1,120,000, and Part C was $730,000. And again, PTS Contractors is also one of the, they're a good contractor. We work with them a lot here in town. So we'd recommend award for parts A, B, and C to PTS Contractors in the amounts that I've read.
Can we make one motion, do it all in one motion, or?
I think so.
Oh, well, then
All right.
make a motion to award them all.
All right, there's motion by Alder Scannell, second by Alder Gerlach to award 5A sewers 121, parts A, B, and C to PTS Contractors, Inc. Any discussion on that? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And sidewalks is C. I didn't see anything for that one, but
Yep, sidewalks, 2021. This is a little different this year now. It's a little larger program than what we've normally done because this includes the citywide program plus the complaint program. And so we ended up having 3 contractors bid on this. Again, the amounts that we've got were well within what our estimate was. And the low bidder was Martell Construction in the amount of $899,297.50. And we recommend award to Martell Construction.
Assistant Director Burnett, do you have the other 2 in their bids, or was it in here and I'm just not seeing it? If you
This
could just
one
read them off.
it was just bid yesterday, so you guys don't have the
Okay.
the summary.
Could you read those off? Do you have
Sure.
those, the other 2 in their amounts?
Yep, we had Fisher Ullman Construction, who was the one got the pavement repair contract. They were at $944,480, and then Al Dix Concrete was at $993,215.
Perfect, thank you. What part of the city are we working on this year for sidewalks? Do we have that?
The citywide portion was in what we're calling District 15, which, that's where we'll get the repairs done. And then, obviously, the complaints are all over the place. The District 15, east and west, is the far east, northeast side, and the far southwest side, I believe.
I believe a lot of it is in my district.
Yes,
Yeah.
for the east
Okay.
side, yes, yep.
Gotcha. You and Alder Vanderleest, I think, southwest,
Yes.
way out, okay.
Yep.
Any questions from the committee? All right,
Motion to approve.
Second,
by Alder Scannell, second by Alder Gerlach to approve 5C sidewalks 2021 to Martell. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. And we're on to 6, consideration of possible action on request by Green Bay Metropolitan Sewerage District operating under the brand NEW Water for a revocable occupancy permit to place a real-time, high-resolution phosphorus sensor and weather station on City of Green Bay personal property, formerly known as Dolphin A of the Renard Isle Confined Disposal Facility in the Fox River. Whew. Jim, all you.
Okay, for those of you that have been to the Metro Boat Launch down at the mouth of the river, if you're standing at one of the launches and you look to the north, you'll see that there's a pipe that's suspended up over the water, and there's a couple dolphins. A dolphin basically is nothing more than a fancy word for foundation in the water. And so basically what they did is when they were doing the dredging, is they would bring in the barge and park it between these two dolphins, and then they would unload the sludge that they had dredged off into the pipeline, and then from the pipeline, my understanding is it got pumped into Renard Island. So when the Corps of Engineers and DNR were done with that project, they decided that, hey, we don't want this stuff anymore, and they gave that structure to the city for ownership. So what we're doing here is the Metropolitan Sewage District has, I think for like the last 6 to 10 years, have been studying phosphorus in the river. And so what they'd like to do is put a sensor out on one of the dolphins so that they can monitor the phosphorus level in the river here. This is coincidental because their discharge is just a little upstream from here. So I think what they're trying to do is get a baseline for what the river is at after their discharge. And this is, what we're looking at this is, we're doing a revocable occupancy permit, similar to like someone putting tables and chairs in the right-of-way. So basically, they're putting something in our right-of-way, so it'll be a revocable occupancy permit. And, they'll give us the insurance and things like that. So what we'd like to do on this one is get the authorization to enter into this agreement with the Metropolitan Sewage District.
All right, thank you. Any questions from the committee?
So authorized.
I'll take
second,
that as a motion to approve. Second by Alder Gerlach. Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that carries. Put whatever you need on the dolphin. And number 7 is a report of actions taken by the Department of Public Works, A, granting of licenses, couple sidewalk builders, Christensen Concrete, Delires Construction, Inc., Helmley Construction and Concrete, J.C. Santee Construction, LLC, Josh Bailey Concrete Construction, KPS Concrete Contractor, LLC, and Tim Verheyen Construction.
All of these have held licenses in the past, and they're worthwhile.
Motion to receive and place on file.
Yep.
Perfect. Motion by Alder Scannell, receive and place on file.
second,
Second by Alder Gerlach. Any discussion on those? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. We are on to Director's Report. We'll call this one the Assistant Director's Report.
And not to disappoint,
Super
but I
assistant.
don't have anything tonight, unless Chris would like to add something.
The only thing I'd like to share with you is we've discussed and it's our spring curbside yard garden waste collection program, like we of course do every spring. People are starting to get out, cleaning up their yards. Similar, almost identical, plus or minus a day or two on either end to last spring. We will start collecting on, I don't have a calendar right in front of me, Monday, I think it's April 10th, or is it the 12th? But the Monday that in the April 10th area, whatever is on the calendar. And then the last day for residents to be able to put out yard waste to the curb this spring, where we can guarantee, yes, we'll pick it up, is Mother's Day on May 10th, Sunday, May 10th. So the kids can get out and do something for mom for her Mother's Day gift or something. But that's when we ended last year, was on the Mother's Day. I think it was May 9th last year.
Up to the 10th. Okay.
And just an FYI, we are going to do a public information campaign like we have done in the past, just to make sure, keep people reminded about the rules. Don't block inlets, stormwater quality, where to place your leaves, when we're starting, where we generally are, so people can kind of get a feel when we're ending, just to keep the communication going in the community. And over the last year and a half that we've been doing this pretty intensely, we've gotten a lot of positive feedback, so we want to keep doing it.
Chris, that's quite a scoop. That's one of the advantages of being on this committee, is we can be one of the first to announce that to our constituents. So I want to make sure I have it right, because I like to post something tonight. The 12th, Monday would be the 12th.
Correct. Yep.
Mother's Day, if that's correct, it would be a Sunday, would be the 8th of May. You said the 10th. 10th would be a Monday. So I'm assuming.
Okay, so yeah, so then the 9th, Monday the 9th, that following week, that'll be our final collection. So you can put the last of your stuff out on Sunday, and we can guarantee we'll pick that up. But say someone puts it out on Tuesday after Mother's Day, but we've already picked up Tuesday's stuff.
Right.
Let's say we're past it for whatever reason, then we can't necessarily guarantee we're going to get there, because we've already been there for the last round. But for every rule, we work them out.
April 12th to May 9th, in other words.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
I've seen Jesse go around and pick up people's stuff with his little trailer.
All my kids have a Hot Wheel, like a motorized car with a wagon. We've done that. Now they're getting a little too big for that, though. But.
I will withhold posting on my Facebook page, Alder Burnett, until tomorrow, so you can get the scoop.
I'll get the scoop. Yeah, I want some points. I'm not the most popular guy these days, so I'd like to scoop.
That means I'm slightly more popular.
Right.
I do have a question for you, Chris or Jim. With the 25 million approximately that we're getting from the federal funds, is there already discussion in DPW of what it could be used for? I mean, all the departments are going to scramble for it, right?
Without being able to talk to Steve about it I really can't comment on that, but I mean, do we have projects that we could use the money for? Yes, most definitely. I mean, as you're aware, that the last couple of years we've been trying to get the hydraulics done on Main Street Bridge, and due to budgeting, that money is always gone and it gets pulled. There's a lot of mechanical items at the West Side Garage that need to be fixed, that are getting to the point where it's way too costly to try to keep them running, parts of the HVAC system. It looked like that money would probably get pulled this year. So, I mean, to me, it's a little unclear. I don't fully have in my head what we can and can't spend the money on, because, I mean, there are restrictions and things like that. So I only had one small discussion with Diana Ellenbecker, Finance Director Ellenbecker, so I'm not going to pretend to know where the money's all going.
All right, well, I just thought I'd see if anything's brewing yet. But any other questions from the committee?
No. Good job.
All right, then receive and place on file the director's report.
Motion to receive and place on file.
Second.
Moved by Scannell, second by Elder Gerlach. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Our next meeting is April 14th. That brings us to an end.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Scannell, second by Elder Gerlach to adjourn. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Everybody have a good evening.
Gentlemen.
Have a good evening.
Good night.